US President Joseph Biden was throwing thunder and lightning at Saudi Arabia. First, he removed the secrecy stamp from the report blaming Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman for the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Then the United States reviewed arms deals with the country, and in a telephone conversation with the Saudi King bin Salman, Biden said that the rules of the game have changed and the United States no longer intends to put up with the human rights violation in Saudi Arabia. And after that, the world started to talk about the new course of the United States in West Asia and upcoming alignment of forces in the region, because the Saudi position is very shaky. Pardon the pun. For years it's been a loyal ally of the United States. After all, Wahhabism was spread to tackle Soviet influence, not according to me, according to the prince himself. So the United States saw great value in partnering with the oil-rich kingdom.
We also have a history of kind of moving in and out of Pakistan. I mean, let's remember here, the people we are fighting today, we funded 20 years ago. And we did it because we were locked in this struggle with the Soviet Union. They invaded Afghanistan, and we did not want to see them control Central Asia, and we went to work. And it was President Reagan, in partnership with the Congress, led by Democrats, who said, you know what, sounds like a pretty good idea. Let's deal with the ISI and the Pakistani military, and let's go recruit these mujahideen, and let's get some to come from Saudi Arabia and other places, importing their Wahhabi brand of Islam so that we can go beat the Soviet Union. And guess what? They retreated, they lost billions of dollars, and it led to the collapse of the Soviet Union. So there's a very strong argument, which is, it wasn't a bad investment to end the Soviet Union, but let's be careful what we sow, because we will harvest.
But why is it after 3 years the United States suddenly decided to use the murder of Khashoggi and worsen relations between Saudi Arabia and the United States? It doesn't make sense. Well, it's not entirely clear. Some believe Khashoggi was a CIA asset, and his murder is being used by the Biden regime in connection with its willingness to negotiate a new nuclear deal with Iran. It could be. After all, it changes everything for Saudi Arabia, because prior to Biden, it was Trump who was fixated on Israeli-Saudi relationship and wanted to strengthen it. So the murder of Khashoggi could possibly be a ploy to lure the Iranians to a nuclear deal. Because if we look back, it was Donald Trump who wanted Saudi Arabia and Israel to be openly friends and also unite against Iran. There was an anti-Iranian bloc being built under the blessings of Donald Trump in the region. Shamelessly, this was happening at the same time the apartheid entity Israel was promoting illegal settlements in the West Bank and the Golan Heights. And suddenly today, Biden has now decided to throw everything down the drain because of Iran.
President Trump has not punished senior Saudi leaders. Would you?
Yes, and I said it at the time. Khashoggi was in fact murdered and dismembered, and I believe in the order of the Crown Prince. And I would make it very clear, we were not going to in fact sell more weapons to them. We were going to in fact make them pay the price and make them in fact the pariah that they are.
Saudi Arabia must tread carefully. It seems to be running towards the Russian camp for now, as well as the Chinese, especially with the recent news about Xi Jinping visiting Saudi Arabia after the holy month of Ramadan. Saudi Arabia needs to tread carefully. Saddam Hussain tried to trade oil in euros. Muammar Gaddafi, may Allah be pleased with him, wanted the gold standard. And now Saudi Arabia is considering the Chinese yuan for oil trade. Today, my dear friends, we have a left-wing fundamentalist liberal in the White House. Biden just might consider exporting democracy to Saudi Arabia if they aren't careful. The Yankee empire is desperate. The Saudis aren't stupid. They've been warning of retaliations against the United States. That's if the United States decides to slap sanctions on them. And no, Saudi sanctions won't involve withdrawing Wahhabism from the United States, although that would be a blessing, but more the withdrawal of investments from the United States. And believe me, they have a lot of money invested in the US.
الوضع الحالي في أفغانستان هو بلا شك ضربة قوية للولايات المتحدة، فهو دليل قاطع على فشل محاولاتها لتغيير هذا البلد الواقع في آسيا الوسطى. علاوة على ذلك، تظهر خطة انسحابها خيانتها لعهد الذي قطعته على الحلفاء، فعندما تتطلب مصالحها التخلي عن الحلفاء تجد لنفسها ألف سبب والسبب.
West Asia today is feeling the big change both in the world and in the region, and that's why Saudi Arabia has decided to establish relations with Russia, because they know the United States is not a reliable partner. Of course, cooperation in the oil markets between Russia and Saudi Arabia is important. If we look at the so-called OPEC Plus deal, where the Saudis and Russians are the main players, they seem to be getting along. But oil is only part of the Russian-Saudi rapprochement. While the Americans were smashing Iraq and occupying Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia was busy making various approaches to Moscow, but concentrated mainly on the Iranian topic. It was important for Riyadh to keep its finger on the pulse in Iranian-Russian relations. And today, Saudi Arabia is gradually beginning to distance itself from the West as a whole. I mean, the Saudi Crown Prince even refused to accept Biden's phone call. Now that's got to be a huge wake-up slap on sleepy Joe Biden's face, right? Without going into too much detail, Saudi Arabia has turned to Russia, ignoring objections of the Americans. A trusting political relationship has been established between the Russian President Vladimir Putin and the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Major military and energy agreements have been reached between Saudi Arabia and Russia. Now it's even come to the point that the prince has expressed a desire to act as a mediator in the settlement of the Ukrainian crisis. The Russian and Saudi dialogue has largely confused the cards for the Americans, who didn't expect Russia and Saudi Arabia to reach such a level of partnership. Despite Biden's request to increase oil prices in order to lower fuel prices, Saudi Arabia refused. According to the Wall Street Journal, Saudi Arabia faced a dilemma to help the West cope with the rise in fuel prices or adhere to the OPEC agreement, which is beneficial to Moscow and increases Washington's spending. And my dear friends, Saudi Arabia, the world's largest exporter of crude oil, decided to side with Russia. So what will happen now? Well, nobody is sure. According to a number of sources, President Biden's advisors are discussing the possibility of his visit to Saudi Arabia in the spring in order to convince Saudi Arabia to increase oil production. By the way, the increase in supplies is being discussed against the background of the ban on oil imports from Russia being considered by Congress due to Russia's military intervention in Ukraine. If this visit takes place, Biden will be forced to scrap his anti-Saudi stance because he will have to show the seriousness of the global energy crisis. But it's going to be difficult, folks. The United States is trying to conduct an anti-Russian game in the energy market, holding meetings with officials of OPEC countries, weighing the consequences of a ban on the import of liquid hydrocarbons from Russia, the second largest oil exporter in the world. However, I believe, and this is just an opinion, no one can replace Russian energy resources on the world market. So don't expect much from Biden's visit to Saudi Arabia if it indeed happens. What I think will happen is the Americans will start pumping money into an alternative prince in order to take the throne after the demise of the Saudi king bin Salman, who's not been keeping too well. He had a battery replaced and is unable to follow scripts. On the other hand, the Russians will end up supporting the Saudi clown prince Mohammed bin Salman, and then we might, just might, witness a royal rumble out there. We shall wait and see.